Today you'll be taking notes over tone, a technique called DIDLS, and a short review of theme. You need to have Cornell notes out and be taking notes as I give the lecture. Right, every AP essay is going to ask you about tone. It may not be obvious to you in the prompt, but you have to include some kind of analysis of tone in your AP essays. And remember that what tone is the author's attitude toward the audience and the subject, the author's opinion about both the audience and the subject. Remember, you don't have to write every word. Good note-taking techniques abbreviate, and on this slide you might just write down the definition of tone and must include analysis or something like that. Now it's very obvious that if you don't address the prompt, you're not going to get a passing score. You're not even going to get a 5. You're going to get like a 0. Oh no. Okay, but less obvious in the prompt might be if you fail to analyze the tone, you're going to get bumped down. Out of the 8 to 9 range definitely, and possibly even out of the 6 to 7 range. Remember, if you need more time, you can pause the presentation. So, when should you discuss the tone in your essay? You should always do it right away. We'll talk about how to use the tone, how to say what it is in a second. Your AP grader has read 17 million essays. They spend days and days in these freezing cold rooms, and they're going to notice if you start with tone because it's going to stand out. There's a lot of students who restate the question, and if you restate the question, you're going to make your grader cry because they read it so many times. On the tax test in the past, I know you're used to restating the question, but don't do it. It's a terrible idea, and it's very canned and overused. By the time you get to your conclusion, you should analyze the theme. We'll talk about theme more in a minute, but you need to analyze the poem chronologically. What I mean by that is you're going to start at the beginning, go one image at a time, whether that image is alliteration or simile or metaphor, diction, whatever it is. You're going to go through the poem in order. This is kind of what your paper will look like by the time you're done. You'll have your tone analysis at the beginning. You'll choose an image, like I said, metaphor, polysyndeton, whatever it is. Then you'll choose another image, and you're going to analyze those images. Don't just say what they are, say how they're used. If you have time and room, you'll do another image, and at the end, you'll hit the theme and analyze that. Now, if you say, here's the theme through image, diction, tone, and point of view, both your grader and I are going to cry. We're not going to be happy with you. You need to make sure that you're not just being obvious about it, okay? The characters' actions and meanness to each other demonstrate that the poem has a feeling of agony and betrayal. You don't want to just say, here's the theme, here's the tone. No. Okay. Now, how do you identify tone? This isn't exact. A range of responses are allowed, and however, you cannot just say what the tone is. Say what the tone means. If you say, the tone of this poem is angry, okay, yes, duh. Right, it's very surface level. You need to go deeper. What does that anger mean for the entire poem, for the work as a whole? There's all these different phrases you can use if you kind of internalize them. If you aren't really sure, you can use these phrases to help you. You might say, here, this first one, the speaker is happy, almost euphoric, right? We went from happy up to euphoric. The second one here, his attitude is bold, tempered with caution. Okay, you have a strong attitude brought down with caution. Bold, tempered with caution. This third one, the speaker initially appears to be rude, but is more accurately shy. Okay, you may know people like that. Hedge if necessary. What I mean by hedge is, back yourself up. Give yourself some room to fall if you're wrong. Use words like seemingly or almost. You could say, a seemingly suspicious or sarcastic tone, or an almost conceited attitude. Okay, be careful not to step around too much though. Be as precise as you can without, digging yourself a ditch you can't get out of and you can't support. You might say, the speaker is not cruel, but closer to petty. Okay, cruel and petty are in the same vein of sort of meanness, but cruel is much harsher than petty. Never say the tone is positive or the speaker uses a positive tone. No, positive and negative are too general. You need to be as specific as you can. Now, we can't actually hear the person speaking the words of the poem, so we have to use clues, and that's where DIDLS comes in. Remember that the complex passages we're going to be encountering, authors will always have distinctive attitudes towards the text, the speaker, and the audience, which is tone, right? The author's attitude is the tone. It's going to be messy, it's going to be complex, and we have to be as specific as possible in order to identify them. Now, DIDLS is going to help you. I already said that. Alright, so what is DIDLS? DIDLS stands for Diction, Images, Detail, Language, and Syntax. Okay. First one, diction. This is important word choices, individual word choices. What kind of words are in the passage? Do you notice there are a lot of angry words, or a lot of words that relate to ships, or a lot of words that relate to summer, words that relate to death or flowers? What kind of word choice is the author using? Images. If you don't know what imagery is by now, I don't know what to do with you. Word pictures created by a group of words. Okay, the similes, metaphors, all of those. Details. Okay, often confused with images or diction. These are facts. Okay, how old is the character? What actions are the characters doing? Okay, these are not notable only for what is included, but what is omitted. There are books where you read the whole book and it never says the main character's name. Why do they leave that out? What is the purpose of leaving out those details? Language. This term describes the characteristics of the body of words used. Okay, these are slang terms, jargon, scholarly language. You need to notice these things when you're reading the poem. And finally, syntax. Syntax is sentence structure. It's how the words are put together. Do you notice that the sentence is awkward? Do you notice that the words seem out of order but still make sense? You need to pay attention to that. Okay? The words that the author chooses to put at the beginning of the sentence or at the end of the sentence are going to be the most important. Now, here's a reminder about what theme is to wrap up this presentation. We'll do more with theme later, but for now, this is a quick review. Theme is always a complete sentence. Okay? Don't say, the theme is love. Okay, well, what about love? Is love kind? Is love harsh? It can go either way. It is the author's opinion, what he or she wants to show or teach you about the subject. It's not necessarily a lesson. Okay, an opinion isn't always a lesson. It's just what the author thinks. It's decidedly positive or negative. Okay, if you write your theme statement and it just says, love is similar to a flower in a garden. Okay, that's not positive or negative. Roses have thorns. Flowers can be poisonous. Which way are you going? Pick a side. A theme statement is generic. Do not use character names in a theme statement. Okay? Here's an example. Experiencing the death of a loved one forces a person to face the harsh reality of loneliness in the world. Okay? We have death. We're losing something close to us. It's harsh. It's lonely. Okay? We pull that language maybe out of a poem and express the sad theme through a statement about the hard reality of death. All right, make sure that you write your summary, write down any questions that you have in your left-hand column of your C notes. If you need a more compact version of this, I've included the worksheet one-page version also on School Web. You should find the link near the link to this video.